Hello everyone, this is Jared Blair, and this tutorial is designed to introduce you to GradeCam, which is a great alternative to utilizing Scantrons for multiple question assignments. So I'm going to take you to the GradeCam.com website, and we'll click Login. And on this screen here, we're actually going to click Continue with Google. And you'll notice that it will automatically sign me in. But with your first sign in, you're going to have to add your Harrison CSD email as your username and your Harrison CSD password as your password, and that will get you in. And the reason we go through Google is because when you go to your classes, all of your classes have already been imported, which is very helpful. So again, you'll see up here we have the Assignments tab, we have a Classes tab, we have a Students tab, and we have a Reports tab. You'll notice that all of my assignments are here. I can choose to archive last year's assignments if I'd like, access them later. We're going to create a new assignment today. Now you have three options here. I always choose the new multiple question assignment. You're going to give your assignment a name. We'll call this Quiz 1 Measurement. Description is optional. You're going to choose your total length, so if you have multiple choice questions and short answer questions, I would include all of those because I'll show you how you can grade those short response questions. And then we have our date, so we'll just save that. And you'll notice that the default is that all 10 questions that I've chosen are multiple choice with A, B, C, D, and E 5 response options. So I'm going to change those automatically. Let's say my first 8 questions are multiple choice assignments, but I only want 4 answer options. I'm going to get rid of that E. Okay. And if you prefer numbers, you can just add 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have more than 4 options, you can add that as well. It's very flexible. And then we'll save that. And then I'm going to uncheck those and check off my last 2 questions, which I'll call short response questions. And I'll drop the type down and I'll choose the rubric option. And with those, let's say they're all 1 point each or however many you'd like, you're going to want to include a 0 option if the student doesn't get the short answer correct. And you're going to want to include 1 for the 1 point correct. And then if you need more points, you can add them as you need to. I'll make each of them worth 1 point. But again, it's important to have the 0 option so you can bubble that in if they get that wrong. Click Save. And you'll see we have our key all set to go. Now I'll go through here and you can, from this screen, the Key tab, you can fill in your key so that when you go to scan student work, the key is all set for you. Now notice I can't select 9 and 10 because again those are rubric questions, short response questions, and I will bubble those in as the grader will instruct students to leave those blank. Now that we have our assignment created, it's important to create the form that the student will fill in, and this obviously again replaces the Scantron option. So if you notice here we have a couple of options and there's a Forms button. So we're going to click that Forms button. And you'll see you have some options here. You've got a preview, you've got your assignment, and that's going to be included in the form. Now what I like to do is make sure that we have the 6-digit student ID number, because again, all students are already loaded with their ID number, so that when they bubble that in for you, you'll actually recognize that that's a specific student and record a grade for them, which is very helpful. So looks like we're good here, and we can then generate the form. So you have 2 options. You can either download a PDF and simply print that out, or what I like to do is you can download a PNG image file, and then you can right-click on this and copy it. And then you could insert this into a Google Doc, and you could add any heading that you like. So if I kind of go in here, paste my image, there's that, and obviously I'll make this a little bit smaller so it doesn't take up my entire page. If I choose break text, I can kind of drag this down. And then I can include a heading that has name, maybe period, and then date. Just to give you an idea of another answer sheet that I've used in the past, I have instructions, I have the title of the quiz. I've also instructed students to fill in bubbles 1 through 12, which are my multiple choice bubbles, and then leave 13 through 15 blank, which are my rubric bubbles. And then what I've actually done is I've created an answer sheet where they include the responses to the short answer questions. So I just look at these and then I can grade whether they got 1 credit or 0 credits. Now you'll notice here there's an exam version. We will include a tutorial separate from this to show you how to create a multiple version exam in case you use an exam generation software like Wizard, TestMaker, that allows you to do multiple versions that scramble the options. So we'll do that at another time. And now all we have left to do in this tutorial is to scan some student samples. So I'm actually going to go into a different assignment just that I've pre-created. And here I am. Hello, everybody. So you'll notice that I'm using a MacBook and the camera came on automatically for me. We'll also include a separate tutorial on how to use your iPhone and the GradeCam app to scan responses, and also just a document camera that would attach to a computer. But if you're using a laptop or a Chromebook, the camera will come on automatically when you click scans. And you definitely want to make sure you've clicked scans and not keys, because if you click keys, and I'm going to actually bubble in my key here because I have not done that. You want to make sure you've done that. If you click keys and you scan a document, this is an important note, it will scan the bubbles as the key. So that's another way to input a long key if you have that, but I typically don't do that. So just again, make sure you've clicked scans. And then what I simply do is I take my first scan and I hold it up. And you'll see, whoop, I hope that wasn't too loud, but I have my sound on so that you can actually hear when you've scanned that. So there's our student, and this is their name, student 1, and their ID, and they scored a 10 out of 10, 100 points. And you'll notice I had bubbled in 1 and 1 for them. Let's do another one so you can see the process again. I simply hold it up, make sure that box is in there, and we get another scan. You notice here, this student marked 2 multiple choice responses incorrectly, and then they got a short response wrong. Now, in the event a student uses pen on the bubble sheet and gets a bubble wrong, they don't have to start a brand new bubble sheet. They can simply X out the bubble and bubble in their correct response, and I'll show you what happens when you do that. Sometimes it takes a moment with this. So then it asks me to verify question number 3, which if I look at it, the student X'd out letter B and wanted D, or C, sorry. And I'll save that, okay? And that's in my settings option to actually do that. So I'm going to go backwards and I'll show you where that setting is. If you go into the settings from the drop down here, and here's the option to have the sounds on, which is helpful to know that it's actually gone in. Then you've got your camera here. If you click on camera, you'll see here it says verify questions that are blank or have extra answered bubbled. I click that on so that way students have the option to X out a bubble and bubble something new in if they used a pen. So no longer do we have to use number 2 pencils. Pen is completely fine. So again, I'm going to go back to that quiz that I was grading. There I am again, hello. And I'm just going to finish up my other 2 students that I made in this class. Now, students will be asked to bubble in their 6-digit student ID number, and they'll just come up, which is really, again, very, very convenient. And that's about it. So thanks for joining this tutorial. We'll have a couple of other tutorials that again will introduce you on how to make a multiple question assignment, how to scan assignments using either a smartphone or a document camera that would just be attached to a computer, and maybe some other options that are a little more advanced. I hope you find this very helpful, and thanks for watching.